Hello students, today we will be discussing graphing additive patterns. Please turn to the next blank page in your journal and put the page number in the upper outside corner. As you can see, I am on page 84 in my journal, so I've placed 84 in the upper outside corner of my journal. We have two vocabulary terms that we need to go over really quickly before we get started. The first one is additive pattern, which means when you add the same amount to a list of numbers. The second one is input-output table, which is a table of related values with a rule that determines the output for any given input. As we go through our notes, these terms will be used and they will make more sense as we kind of experiment with them. All right, so let's take a problem to get us started. Go ahead and set your journal up with this problem, and we're going to create a table and a graph for this problem. You will need 3 graphs for these notes, so if you would get a strip of 3 graphs from the counter so that you can glue them into your journal and follow along as we go. When we're done, you should have everything I have, and your graphs should look like my graphs. All right, let's go over this. Sean's puppy, Charlie, weighs 2 pounds. If he gains 1 pound each week, how much will Charlie weigh after 6 weeks? All right, so I know that you could probably solve this problem in your head. However, we want to create a table and a graph to help us visualize the problem and then solve it. This is setting you up for success later on as you begin to learn some algebra with much more complicated equations. So let's look at number of weeks. Right now, Charlie weighs 2 pounds. So right now we are at 0 weeks and he weighs 2 pounds. Now we just want to see how much is he going to weigh over the next few weeks. So in 1 week, he's going to weigh 3 pounds because it says he's gaining a pound each week. In 2 weeks, Charlie will weigh 4 pounds. In 3 weeks, Charlie will weigh 5 pounds. In 4 weeks, Charlie will weigh 6 pounds. And in 5 weeks, Charlie will weigh 7 pounds. All right, now we've created our input-output table. For our input, you can see that we are adding 2 to each input in order to get our output. Because we are adding the same amount to our inputs in order to get our outputs, this is called an additive pattern. Okay, our next step is to create our graph. So we need to label our axes for these. All right, now I have labeled my axes, so I'm going to go ahead and start plotting the points onto my graph. Now remember, the x value we find by going along the x-axis, and then the y value, we're going to go up to that value on the y-axis. So the first point is 0, 2, so it's going to be plotted right here. The next point is 1, 3, then 2, 4, then 3, 5, 4, 6, and 5, 7. Okay, I've plotted my points, so now the last step is to draw a line through each of the points so that I can visualize the pattern that's being created. This is my additive pattern right here. Now I could use this graph, especially if I continued it on for more numbers here, I could use this to solve the problem. So I can clearly see that if I look at the x value 8 and follow it up here, that then the y value would be 10. So if I wanted to know how big the puppy would be after 8 weeks, I could look at my graph to see that he would be 10 pounds. But my question is asking, how much will Charlie weigh after 6 weeks? So if I find the x value of 6 and I follow my graph up until I intersect my pattern line, I can see that the point would be 6, 8. So my ordered pair would be 6, 8. So my answer is that Charlie would weigh 8 pounds. All right, let's move on to another situation. All right, so here is our practice problem. Shane has typed 5 pages of a science report. If he types 1 page per hour, how many pages will he have typed after 4 hours? All right, so first step is that we need to complete our input-output table, which again is basically just a T-chart. So I've already put hours and pages typed. So we know that right now, we're going to put 0 hours have passed. So at 0 hours, he already has 5 pages. So how many will he have after 1, 2, 3, and 4 hours? All right, so after 1 hour, it says that he's typing 1 page per hour. So in 1 hour, he will have 1 more than he had at 0 hours. So he's going to have 6 pages. After 2 hours, he'll have 7 pages. After 3 hours, he'll have 8 pages. And after 4 hours, he'll have 9 pages. Okay, our next step is to graph this information onto our coordinate plane. Before we can do that, we need to set up our X and Y axis. So go ahead and do that now. All right, I have set up my X and Y axis and I'm ready to start graphing my ordered pairs. So the first ordered pair that I have is 0, 5. So I'll plot a point at 0, 5. And then 1, 6, 2, 7, 3, 8, and so on. I'm going to go ahead and draw my arrow through to represent my additive pattern. So this is showing my additive pattern, and it should cross through those corners. All right, perfect. Now it says how much would he have typed after 4 hours? And we can see on our plane or our input-output table that after 4 hours he will have typed 9. And we could represent that also by the ordered pair 4, 9. Let's see, did we graph 4, 9? 4, 9, which would be right there. So the ordered pair 4, 9 represents our answer. After 4 hours, he will have typed 9 pages. Perfect. Now it's time for our OMO. You'll need a third graph for the OMO. And here is the problem. Violet started with $2. She will earn $1 each day for doing chores. What will be her total on day 5? You need to create your chart. You need to graph the information on the coordinate plane. And you need to answer the question. Once you've completed that, you need to take your journal to Ms. Stafford to have her check to see how you did. All 3 items must be completed correctly before you can move on. Once your OMO has been checked off, then you need to return to the video for some final instructions. Awesome. So now you should have your OMO checked off. Your next steps are to place images of your notes into the Unit 9 journal assignment. Then you need to complete the Graphing Additive Pattern assignment in Google Classroom.